We will now consider our public comment session. If you are interested in testifying on a bill or resolution that is on the final passes calendar, if you haven't already done so, you can sign up to the table to my left. When your name is called, you will go to the podium in the middle of the council chambers. There's a device on that podium. When the light turns green, your name will be called. When the light turns yellow, you will have 30 seconds to conclude your remarks. When the light turns red, we ask that you please conclude your remarks and adhere to our guidelines. For the record, the overwhelming response for bill number 170963 as it relates to individuals interested in testifying on that, what we have done is ask the pro and con to pare that list back to 10 on each side. So we will have that opportunity because we want to make sure that everybody has an opportunity and there's a fair and equitable conversation around this to participate and cooperate with this process. Thank you very much for your cooperation. Mr. Decker, please call the first name on the list.
Cheng Moy. Commenting on 170963.
And I would ask the audience to respect the individuals testifying. You may or may not agree with it, but we'd ask you to please respect their right in a public forum to have their say. Thank you very much. Good morning. Thank
you. Okay. Thank you, everybody. My
name is Moy Cheng.
No Philadelphia, 7 Street. More.
I live in South Philadelphia, at 17th Street.
Lucky Li.
My son's name Lucky Li. I have a convenience store at South Philadelphia, South Philly. At the time, my convenience store doesn't have a bulletproof glass. When my son came back from the college, he was shot inside the store. After that, my store was set up by the bulletproof glass. At the time, my son already dead. So my son was shot by two guys came to rob in my convenience store, and after that I set up a bulletproof glass. So please don't take the bulletproof glass from us. If you took the bulletproof glass from our store, there will be more people die.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your testimony.
Yolanda Bellinger. Commenting on 170963.
Good afternoon.
Morning.
First of all, I would like to say thank you for letting me speak. I was involved with two tragedies.
Just state your name for the record.
My name is Yolanda Bellinger.
Thank you.
I was involved with two tragedies. 1994, before the bulletproof glass was put up, I was involved with a robbery that went wrong and the owner got killed. 2007, my dad that served his country for the Marines retired, worked the waterfront, and he got a job working for Textile Science College as a foreman for the renovation of the college. He was on his way to work and he stopped at a Chinese store to get food to take for his night job. A robbery went wrong and my father lost his life. Just so happened the owner didn't because he had the bulletproof glass up. So I just beg you, please do not take that. Please do not pass that bill. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony.
Joe Brown. Joe Brown. Michelle Tran. Michelle Tran. Reverend Robert Shine. Commenting on 170963.
Good morning, Mr. President, members of City Council. I stand here to make a privileged request. And that privileged request is that you consider or reconsider Section G of this bill. The reason being that it would certainly expose the proprietors to greater hazards of danger to their lives, as the two former speakers have testified. And if it's not a health issue, then the reason that I stand here is that you give good consideration to review that once again and remove it for the safety of those proprietors in that establishment. I think it would be just, fair, and right that you do so. I think that we are not a city to expose any of our citizenry to hazards of life and to endangerment of their property. I think in the wisdom that is exhibited continuously in this city council, that they would do the right thing. Further, with your permission, I would like to add a third reason, and I'm sure that you may right now be aware, but I want to make City Council aware that in addition to that, in August of 2018, the Progressive National Baptist Convention will be convening here at the Center City Marriott. One of the things that we want to introduce them to is the restaurants in the immediate area. We're talking about some 3,000 conveners here in the city. That's significant. And having the seating in the restaurant, available restrooms in the restaurant, we applaud all of those things that are in this legislation. But in addition, as an officer of the convention, I would want to also be certain that their visit to these establishments will not hazard them at all, given the number of persons that we are expecting. So that's a personal thing, because of what we are anticipating in the year to come. But as far as this legislation and Section G, I respectfully ask that you reconsider for the removal of that particular section. Mr. President and members of City Council, with all due regard and respect to the Chinese community, as this, I believe, will impact on them more than any other establishment in our city. Thank you for allowing me this privilege, and I'm looking forward to your reconsideration.
Thank you for your testimony.
Michelle Tran. Commenting on 170963.
Excuse me, sorry about that. We're going to the restroom. My name is Michelle Tran. I'd like to talk about, please, I was a victim of a robbery when I was 10 years old, and I don't want that to happen again. Please, we agree with the seating, and we agree with the bathroom and the foods. We will be willing to do everything in our power to have you enforce the existing laws. But please, allow us to keep the protection for ourselves and for our employees and for the community. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony.
Bishop Peter Wang.
Good afternoon, Mr. President and all the members of council. My name is Bishop Peter Wang. I'm the president of the French Council of USA, and also I'm a member of Religious Leaders Council of Greater Philadelphia. And also I'm a chairperson for the past president of Korean Council of Churches in Philadelphia. I just flew from California and I just arrived to testify at the council. And first of all, I really appreciate to the white American and as well as black African American. You've been sacrificed to build up the beautiful country as the greatest country in the world. And especially I really appreciate to the black communities because their sacrifice, their human rights struggles give all the Asian or the Latino communities to build up the strong communities in the nation. And I've been working the racial reconciliation ministry about 30 years in Philadelphia as well as USA. During the 1970s and 80s, there were so many victims among the Asian American and especially the Korean American merchant. And as a clergy member, I was so wonder why these things happen to our beautiful country. And I found out there are a lot of misunderstanding between the two communities. Number one, the language barrier is so great, as well as the cultural barriers. The black African American, even though there are a lot of different backgrounds, but they are using only one language. Latino communities, they are using the same language. But if we come to the Asian, there are so many different Asians who has a totally different languages and totally different cultural differences. So among Asians, most of the the American, they identify us as the Asian, but we are all different. But what I'm trying to say is, if you take down the safety glasses, I really, the owner tried to looking for the dignity of the human life. But the life is more important than the dignity.
Thank you.
So if you take down the safety glasses, most of the life will be in danger, and then everybody will carry the gun.
Thank you, Reverend.
Then there will be a violence. I'm so sorry,
Thank
but
you.
some
You
of
can
the,
just conclude your.
yeah. So I really humbly ask you, if you want to make a beautiful brotherly love and sisters affection city in this, for the city.
Thank you.
I think you are bringing the more the cautious on the issue.
Reverend,
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Kay Thompson. Kay Thompson. William Snacy.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is William Swayze. I've had the privilege of working around this country for 20 years and seeing different situations. One such particular situation was in Houston, Texas, where the establishment did have bulletproof glass just on the outside, not to protect the clerks or anybody, but there was a shooting that took place. Luckily, the bullets that were flying inside the building, they didn't go outside and hit anybody in the head. No kids got hit. None of that. I've been in 2 such instances where there was no glass. Now, I've been in situations where someone did attempt to rob somebody where there was glass available, and it deterred them. They went in, they tried, it was unsuccessful. We have security measures everywhere we go. The airport, a bar, coming into this building. Everyone likes to work safe. I'm a welder by trade. I have measures that I take to make my job safe. So who are we to refuse these citizens their right to be safe? It not only protects them, but it also protects the people, the patrons that are going there shopping at their establishments. Okay? Everyone wants to shop safe. Everyone wants to work safe. That's about all I got. We have no right to take away their safety. That's just plain and simple.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for your testimony.
Rich Kim. Commenting on 170963.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. My name is Rich Kim, and I own and operate a deli in North Philadelphia. I believe that everyone here has the same goal, which is to beautify our neighborhoods and better our community. I have no objections to all the other provisions, including the 30 seating, the bathroom, selling of food, etc. The only issue I have is the safety glass, and safety glass only. The reason is plain and simple, which is safety for not only the people that work inside of it, but the general public as well. I also do realize that there are bad businesses that needs to be regulated, which I am all for as well. But please do not generalize that all delis are bad businesses. There are many businesses, there are many delis that are willingly and happily give back to the community and care what's going on in the community as well. At this time, I would like to share my personal experience. 20-some years ago, right before my family took over this business, the son of a store owner was shot and killed for no reason. And at that time, there was no bulletproof glass. So when we bought the business, it was actually the neighborhood people that actually suggested that we put the glass up. So we did. So, a few years later, my mother-in-law was cleaning tables in the dining area when a man pulled out a knife and threatened to hurt her and rape her. She had a chance to free herself and get behind the safety glass and call the police. If it wasn't for the glass, God knows what could have happened. And even 2 years ago, drug dealers came in trying to shoot my workers because we would not let them do their business inside or outside of the store. I did work with the police to put them behind bars. We contacted the police numerous times without any response, so we have been policing it ourselves. And I do understand that the police have more serious business as well. But there's so much we can do, and when we try to chase these drug dealers away, there's always tension, and without the safety glass, our lives will be threatened at all times. I would love to bring the safety glass down as well, as long as there is guaranteed safety measure in place. So please, amend the bill to keep the safety glass up and keep the crime rate down, and more importantly, save lives. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for your testimony.
Lilia Li.
My name is Lilia Li. I'm the Mandarin Chinese victim advocate with Center City Crime Victim Services. I have worked nearly 8 years for the victims of violent crime in Philadelphia. I'm here today to testify against part of the bill that authorized the Department of L&I to have until January 1st, 2012 to create regulations on the use or removal of physical barriers between food services and customers in large establishments. By not allowing small business owners to use protective glass, my fear is that the crime rate might increase in the high crime rate neighborhoods, and that the employees and the families of small business and their customers might be affected more by crime as a result. I understand that the proposed bill only affects business under the large establishment category. However, as far as the safety issue is concerned, I don't see a reason to treat business differently, whether they are large or small establishments. In my years as a victim advocate, I have worked directly with individuals and families who own and operate small businesses. On January 20th, 2012, the owner of the Jing House Takeout in Tacony was shot several times in the chest and died there. His wife was at the scene holding their infant child, fled the restaurant and screamed for help. A helpful neighbor called the police. Jim House restaurant was run by a couple. The owner left behind 3 young children, a 5-year-old boy, a 3-year-old girl, and a newborn. Jim House was without a physical barrier installed between in the customers and the food services. If Jing House had installed a protective barrier, the homicide could have been avoided, in my belief. No arrest has been made for Jing House homicide. No justice has been served for the Jing House family. 2 months ago, on October 2nd, Judge Barbara McDermott of Philadelphia Municipal Court sentenced 2 criminals, one for 35 to 70 years and the other for 30 to 60 years. They targeted over a dozen small business families in a violent home invasion robbery spree during 2016. 2 weeks ago, on December 1st, Judge Patrice Tucker of the United States East District Court of Pennsylvania gave a 37-year sentence to the criminal who had also targeted small business owners in a series of violent home invasion robberies in 2015. Local and federal judges both have delivered a message to the public through their severe sentences to ensure the safety of small business in the city.
Ma'am.
Why would City Council want to pass a
Ma'am.
bill?
Ma'am.
They show no concern
Can-
for
can
their
you
safety. Thank
wrap
you.
up? Thank you. All right. So remind everyone, you have 3 minutes to testify. Thank you.
Osteria Vives. Commenting on 170963.
Good afternoon.
It's afternoon already. Buenos dias, my name is Osteria Vives. Some of you know me, some of you don't. Community activist. I do a lot in our community. I'm not about the media, so I don't show off. But I do a lot. That includes prayer and peace walks, along with visiting local stores, community members, because I'm also for no less than 12 years, with the 25th Police District Advisory Council. Home Quarters and Friends is the name of the organization. I'm going to say what I have to say, not because someone asked me to, but because I live in the community. I am about the community. We are the community. I'm not going to place it in any type of order. All of it is important. Why take control of the store and not the items and substance we sell? If small businesses are selling products that encourage drugs or alcohol, then the city has failed. It is their responsibility to match their services with the licenses and the applications that took place. The city doesn't follow up with the products sold. You say you are fighting for our constituents? Who? Because I haven't seen you around. You haven't asked me. You haven't asked my neighbors. You haven't asked. When I hear the word my district, but yet you're making the decisions for all districts, that's pretty selfish. You should be ashamed of yourself. Unruly customers that come in, they're unruly before they come in because they are part of the streets, they're using drugs, they have no control of themselves. So let's help reduce the violence like I have been doing for no less than 20 years. Bulletproof versus guns, that's what I see now. Customer feelings versus violence, that's what I see. Know the high crime area and create a new zone code to allow bulletproof. Please, at least do that. Control your licenses departments, not the lives of others. Insurance rates reduced because of security. Now it will go up. And now many stores are already talking about closing. Should they bring stores to the guns now? Should they allow now one customer at a time to reduce the violence? We have no time for hate. We have no time for violence. We have no time for more deaths because I have seen them. I know that I will lose sleep. I know that I will become a wannabe police officer because I know that the crime rate will increase. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony.
Peter Li. Commenting on 170963.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm Peter Li. I have my beer store, daily store at 1630 West Lehigh. 10 years ago, I was a robbery and shoot me 6 times in my store without bulletproof glass. I just have the last bullets moved out from my body last year. I was lucky to survive last time. This time, if you forbid me to take down the bulletproof glass, I will not be lucky next time. Please keep my bulletproof glass. I don't want to be dead. I have fed my wife and my 2 kids. Please help. Thank you.
What's
Good
your
afternoon.
name called? Your name has to be called.
What was your name?
Adam Shu.
He didn't call your name. Adam Shu, you got him on the list? No.
You,
We were together while my name
Yeah,
is on
but
the
you're
list.
not on the list.
Please. I saw my name on the list. Name is
You didn't write your name in?
I did. You want me to show you?
Oh, we gotta wait, hold on.
all right, 10. We're at 10.
Just sit, I only gave 10 people, so we need to sit down.
We got your point. I mean,
Okay?
all right, just one item, because if you do 11, then it gotta be 11, then it'll end up being 2020. You know,
Okay?
we get the point. Council members are well aware of the various positions, but thank you anyway.
Chris Rabb.
Chris?
Chris Rabb.
Yeah.
Chris Rapp?
Commenting on 170963.
Good afternoon, Representative.
Good afternoon. Thank you. My name is Chris Rabb. I'm the state representative for the 200th Legislative District in Northwest Philadelphia, representing Mount Airy, Chestnut Hill, and part of West Oak Lane. I'm glad to be here on this important issue. This is an important bill. It is also a very important issue. How we as Philadelphians deal with nuisance stop-and-go businesses that sell alcohol. This is both a crime and a quality of life issue. This summer I was pleased to co-sponsor a bill that is now state law. This new law states that the Pennsylvania Liquor Control Board finds that a licensed establishment does not meet the seat, square footage, food or health requirements under the state liquor code, that the LCB can suspend the business liquor license immediately. Why is this important? Well, frankly, these businesses make good money selling alcohol, and without a license to do so, one of their most profitable product lines is cut off until that suspension is lifted. This is a real victory for consumer rights in the neighborhoods plagued with these types of nuisance businesses. The new law gives local governments, including the city of Philadelphia, the power to make recommendations to the LCB to investigate establishments that are believed to be failing to meet code requirements. If you're living up to the code, if you're compliant, this is a non-issue. Now, council is rightly focused on what can be done at the state level under this new law. My guiding principle is very simple. We need to invest in, protect, and help grow the proportion of businesses in our neighborhoods that are truly community-centered. And deeply socially responsible. We need to cultivate strong relationships between business owners and residents that are based on mutual respect and understanding. And the needs of transactional businesses operating for profit maximization must not take precedence over those businesses that are truly committed to help sustain local communities. I believe that Councilwoman Bass's bill is a substantive piece of legislation conceived in good faith. I see that I'm out of time, but this is an imperfect process. This is what participatory democracy smells like. It's not always pretty. But look around the room and we see so many people from different stakeholding communities who care enough to show up to raise their voices, to be a part of the solution, that's how we're going to get anything done. And I'm glad I could lend my voice to it. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative.
ASA Khalif. ASA Khalif. Commenting on 170963.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, council people. I have 3 minutes, so I'm going to be very swift and brief. First, justice to Brandon Tate Brown. Second, justice for David Jones. Asa Khalif, Black Lives Matter, Pennsylvania. Stop and goes have always been a thorn in the sides of black and brown communities. Nothing, and I do mean nothing, good has ever come out of their presence in our communities. The sale of loose cigarettes to our underage children, the shots of alcohol to our children, the drugs sold in the stores, in their stores with their permission and approval. Finally, black and brown people say enough is enough. This bill is bigger than plexiglass. This bill is about responsibility and accountability. 2 words stop and go owners never had to live up to. Black and brown people have every right to decide who operates in their business in their communities, in our communities. We have every right to hold anyone, regardless of race, accountable when they continue to disrespect our neighborhoods with their illegal activities. Again, this is bigger than plexiglass. And speaking of plexiglass, stop promoting fake news. The bill has a compromise. Plexiglass removal will be the responsibility of L&I if the store is up to code and follow the rules. The plexiglass may even remain. Again, stop with your smoke and your mirrors. This bill is long overdue, black people. And I, along with the members of Black Lives Matter Pennsylvania, support it 100%. Thank you, Councilwoman Bass, for your courage. But this is nothing new. Black women have always been on the front lines for change. So again, this is nothing new. Finally, I'll end this quote from our sister Stada Shakur of the Black Panther Party, and this is dedicated to black and brown people who are listening and here today. It is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to win. We must love and support each other. We have nothing to lose but our chains. Black Lives Matter and Black Power.
Thank you for your testimony.
Emanuel Buss. Commenting on 170963.
Emanuel Buss, Professional for Progress, and I'm a different kind of Democrat. First, I want to start off by saying I want to thank Councilman Curtis Jones because this is bigger than a daggone bill, bigger than a daggone stop and go. Every time I come up here, and every person that testify here, what Curtis Jones does every single time, he spin his chair around and give us his undivided attention. He not texting, he not tweeting, he give us his undivided attention and make us feel like we're welcomed up here in the city council where we pay our taxes at. Secondly, let's stop playing games. This is not about glass, this is about cash. Because if it really was about violence, you would be, it's 300 murders in the city of Philadelphia. I want to see all of you guys, see, you know what it is? You don't want to, this is not about stopping violence for the Asian community, it's stopping the violence in your establishment. Because violence is hitting our streets every day. We're up to 300 murders. I never see you out the street with me when I go walk the street to try to do violence prevention. This place should be packed every time. I don't see you on the school fight, I don't see you on the gentrification fight, I don't see you on the housing fight. It's only when it affects your cash that you come down here. And I don't have anything against the Asian community because when the discrimination bill was put forth, I supported the discrimination bill because you shouldn't be discriminated against. But you should damn sure should be fighting the same fight that we fight if you're a serious Philadelphian. This can't be just about violence in your establishment. This needs to be about preventing violence in our city. And every single stop and go, that whether you break the law or don't break the law, if your business model is about selling products that get vulnerable, impoverished people high, it's a bad business model, whether you have glass or not. DC? I told you guys, this is a different day. This is a different day. Because I'm being calm right now. Because in 18, I'm going to cut up. I'm going to cut up. Because we need to support courageous behind people like Cindy Bass, like Maria Quinones Sanchez, and like Curtis Jones. The reason why you don't get more progressive bills, black people, is because we don't support the black legislators. And I can tell you this right now, all you legislators that got the courage to stand up here and fight for us, we are going to, it's a new day. We're going to have your goddamn back.
Thanks for the sir. Come on. Everybody gets a chance to have their say. Thank you for your testimony.
Stephanie Ridgway. Commenting on 170963.
Good afternoon. My name is
Good afternoon.
Stephanie Ridgway. I've listened to what everyone else has said, and really I just want to make sure people understand this bill is not about the plexiglass. I live at 22nd and Ridge, and we have a business, and I live above the business. And nightly, I see what happens as the businesses close and people go home. I ask the Asian community, how many of you live and work in the same area that you work? Because if you did, you would change your business practice. We've spoken about coming together, but at any given point or time, none of the businesses that are in the 22nd and Ridge area ever come out to a meeting, and we've had several of them. So what I say is, yes, this bill is important. Cindy Bass has pushed forth a real issue, and it is about bringing a boundary of the city and the state together, because I have seen the state come and be feet away from the things that are happening in our community, and they have not taken action. This is about someone living here and working here and understanding that this is a part of our lives. My business is in just as much jeopardy as the people that have the plexiglass, because you are serving alcohol to people that are already inebriated. I see my taxes being used to pick up people that you have served on the street, being in need of 911 services. And I understand that this is about money. But if it is about money, then you need to stand up and start to take an active role in stopping the things that are happening in our community. So I thank Cindy Bass for inviting me out, but I want to say this is not about the plexiglass. This is about business being wrong from the very beginning. This is about people coming into our communities and setting up shop and taking the money home with them and leaving us there to suffer the consequences, because nightly I see urination, defecation, and other actions taking place where I live, because I live and work in that community. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your testimony.
Mike Daniels.
Mike Daniels.
Mike Daniels.
Mike Daniels. Next.
Ryan Boyer. Commenting on 170963.
Good afternoon, Council President Clark and council people at large. My name is Ryan Boyer. I represent the Labor's District Council of Philadelphia and vicinity, almost 6,000 members, about 77% of which are residents of the city of Philadelphia, which means we work, play, and stay here in Philadelphia. It is our opinion at the Labor's District Council that we support this bill by Cindy Bass. And we support this bill because we are residents of the city of Philadelphia. And for us, it's about a corporate social responsibility. Businesses have a social responsibility not to do things that's wrong. The best predictor of future behavior is past behavior. And if we judge them by the past, they've been bad actors. Now we're just asking you to maybe remove a barrier so that we could build a bridge to the community. Maybe if we understood the community more, we wouldn't be in jeopardy. My father operated a business at 10th and Green, 11th and Green, for 15 years. We never had plexiglass up. We was robbed once, but that's when you're doing business, sometimes you get it. And listen, I have had the opportunity to partake of the Asian cuisine of the various countries in Chinatown, in those restaurants. They stay open very late. I've never seen a plexiglass wall in those restaurants in Chinatown. So it's about equity for us. It's about equity for my guys that live in every zip code in Philadelphia. We have a member in at least every zip code in Philadelphia. Why can't their dining experience be the same as when they come to Chinatown? That's all we want is fairness, a fundamental fairness, and I'm sure Elle and I will work to ensure the safety of all those establishments. But we need to play by the rules, and that has not happened. And you have not been good members of the community. Good members of the community coach Little League. You give donations to Little League. I have never seen your flag fly in any of the places that we do business with Little League, because my guys coach all types of stuff. So if we come together and use this moment as a moment to come together, I think that you'll find yourself safer as you ingrain yourself in the community and not disassociate yourself in the community and take your cash deposits and go wherever you live. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony.
Rochelle Bulow. Commenting on 170963.
Good morning, Rochelle Bulow. First of all, I'm speaking on Bill 170963. This bill and a lot of these stores, especially the bad ones, is a scourge in our neighborhoods. The communities are the poorest, is the ones that they prey on. This is not about plexiglass. This is about disrespect of anyone's culture. This is not about disrespect of anyone's culture, because we all want to be safe in this city. This is not about the plexiglass. This is about human decency. Because these stop-and-go stores have been a menace in our communities for a long time. I went to one, and this is how I found out that they were serving shots by the glass. I get out of my car, got some friends coming over, they drink coolers. I'm going to stop at one, buy some coolers. I go into the store and I notice people are buying shots. I notice kids are coming in to get potato chips and pretzels. As I leave, I see a guy on the side urinating outside this establishment because there is no bathroom that they can use in these properties. If you want a restaurant, follow the restaurant rules. If you want a bar, follow the bar rules. Bars are held accountable for drunk patrons. Bars are held accountable for drunk patrons. People that sell shots do not. The one not too far from my house, people drive up, get shots, get drunk, drive away. Thank God I'm not in their way, and I hope you are not in their way when they leave that stop and go. It's really problematic that certain persons spin this bill into a safety bill. And I've been a law enforcement officer for 27 years. It's not about plexiglass. It's not about the safety issue. It's about do the right thing in the neighborhoods in which you do your business. That's all we asking. So whoever spent the fake news to you, you need to check them, because it's not about plexiglass, and we are not here to kill you. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony, man.
Supreme Dow. Supreme Dow.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you, Council President.
You're welcome.
And thank you to all the council members for your undivided attention regarding this matter. And thank everyone for coming out, both sides. Obviously, this is an issue that's important to the community. My name is Supreme Dow, and I'm a lifelong resident of Philadelphia, Northwest Philadelphia, particularly Germantown, and damn proud of it. Today, I'll provide testimony from an up-close and personal view. I have the opportunity to run a nonprofit that is situated directly next door to a stop and go that we had to shut down because of continual and yearly violations of city codes, state codes, and rules and regulations. I've heard people come through the park and say, what time does it open? Because that was their gathering space at 10 o'clock in the morning. Like we did the bars in the 70s when there was a bar on every corner in the black community and they were a nuisance to Philadelphia, we shut them down. And I'm here to say today that if you continue to be a nuisance in our community, we will shut you down. I've had to conduct tours and welcome guests and host elementary and high school students next to a stop and go that served as a gathering place for unsavory characters and activity. Today, I testify in support of Bill 170963. I'm old enough to remember the first wave of what many refer to as the stop and go businesses. A little over 30 years ago, neighborhoods experienced a shocking invasion of malt liquor beer joints that operated under the guise of restaurants. It quickly became obvious to residents and community leaders that these businesses didn't serve their best interests. Plexiglass was erected, tables were scarce, and public restrooms were somehow always out of order. As the crack epidemic began to grip African American and poor communities, these stop-and-go businesses began to proliferate. In my view, this is no coincidence. Not that there has been a conspiracy, there has just been a crude business strategy by these business owners to focus on areas of our city that have been vulnerable to drug activity. As a matter of fact, by way of even casual observance, it is clear that what all these establishments have in common is the open drug activity in and around the store. The discussion of stop-and-go establishments and the value of this bill point to some very important issues that should be considered. Are these establishments safe and clean? Do they attract the kind of business and people that are needed to move a community upward into a thriving public and private partnerships? Do these businesses operate with community care and consideration? Oh man, okay. And do all these businesses accountable? Basically, the number one question that should be answered when considering a stop and go for any neighborhood is, does this business add value to the community, economically, culturally, and aesthetically? I suggest to you that this bill does. History is spelled out. The business model for stop-and-go stores. They erect plexiglass all around the counters and registers, placing a barrier between the customer and goods provider.
Thank you.
This barrier is a prime example of the disconnect between the people and the store owners.
Thank you for your testimony.
Thank you very much for your coverage, Councilwoman.
Lilian Hertz.
Correction to my name, it's hence. Hence, like henceforth and forevermore, but spelled different.
Record shall reflect that correction.
I had no...
Just say your name for the record.
Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Lilian English Hence.
Thank you.
I am the vice chair of the 49th Ward. And I'm here today, and I've listened to everyone's testimony here today, and I didn't have a clue that I was going to come up here and speak to you all today, but let me speak to you as a 30-year resident of the Logan area Let me speak to you as a native Philadelphian. Let me speak to you as a law enforcement officer for 32 years. Let me speak to you as someone who cries sometime at night. I have 4 sons and a daughter. I'm lucky, I'm blessed that they're still alive. I want to say to you that I grew up in North Philadelphia where we didn't have a stop and go on the corner of every corner. I grew up, I was a child. I was able to be a child. But I work in an area, in the 35 and the 3600 blocks of Germantown Avenue, where we had to close down the stop and goes. If you listen to the testimony today, this definitely is not about protecting our community, because if it was about protecting our community, we wouldn't have everybody up here saying, don't take down my plexiglass because it keeps me safe, okay? We would have people up here saying, let's make plexiglass stores, period, if that's going to save the whole community. I say to you, Cindy Bass, I say to you, Sherelle Parker, I say to you, Councilman Jones, and I say to you, Ms. Quiones, and I say to you, Janie Blackwell, I say to you, as one of the new guys on the block, Derek Green, and I say to you, Kenyatta, you don't know me, but I know you, okay? I say to you, thank you. I say to you, I say to you, thank you for bringing this, Cindy Bass. I thank you for being my council person. I have not always had it like this, but I want to thank you, and I want y'all to get the picture. We're tired of these stop and goes who don't do nothing but stop and go liquor and alcohol in our neighborhoods, and our kids aren't safe.
Thank you for your testimony, ma'am.
Melissa Robbins.
Good afternoon, Council President, Council
afternoon.
members. Thank you, Cindy Bass, for taking leadership on this. This conversation is not about plexiglass or savages who simply want to harm others, as some have stated on social media platforms. This is a conversation about quality of life, classism, and racism, a tough topic to tackle. Let us not pretend that we don't know why the nation recognizes Philadelphia as the largest, most poverty-stricken city in the nation. Let us be honest and acknowledge that this system was put in place that allows this well-oiled, aging machine to operate and function just the way in which it was designed to, thus creating perpetual poverty. Would you be okay with an establishment in your neighborhood that opens as early as 7 a.m. and sells beer, liquor, and shots to anyone? Let it be known that the same establishments typically close from 1 to 2 a.m. in the morning. So let us ask ourselves, what takes place during the course of a 19-hour period in one of those establishments all day? How does one with an establishment like this contribute to the betterment of our neighborhood? Or does it contribute to the decay of our neighborhoods? Oh, and by the way, I'm just really finding out that the city actually recognizes these establishments as restaurants. These restaurants break federal law by breaking the seal on packs of cigarettes and selling them individually as loosies. They sell fried foods containing highly saturated fats, MSG, sodium, and tons of sugar. Foods with no nutritional value, and none of the healthy options that most people need to survive cannot be found. They do not exist in these establishments. You can, however, find chips, cookies, sugar, soda water, candy, liquor, malt liquor, shots, beer, and a plethora of other fried foods, rice, noodles, and greasy sauces. These restaurants have no heat, no restrooms, some have no doors, and the customer service is non-existent. Customers are regularly treated like the scum of the earth, and many of these restaurants do not have standard cash registers and only accept cash. Now multiply that one restaurant. We have unlimited places of businesses just like this around the city, all over our city, and yes, primarily in neighborhoods of color. What if Center City, Manioc, or Society Hill had this issue? We all know the city wouldn't allow business models like this in these neighborhoods. They would not be seen as an asset to their community, therefore you're not an asset to our community. They do not comply with the laws and ordinances, they do not employ our local residents, they do not create community partnerships, and they do not invest into our neighborhoods, and they only provide stable incomes for themselves. These are crime beds, these are eyesores, these are dysfunctional, unethical, non-compliant small businesses that have contributed to the decay of our communities of color. These redline communities of food deserts deserve the same quality of life that many of you enjoy in your neighborhoods each day. Many of these residents are underpaid, they're ill-educated, unemployed, and are not valued. They all deserve better. If you ran a business that sold products that are known to harm the body and impair good judgment from sunup to the wee hours of the morning, okay, I'm sorry we're over our time, but I say these restaurants need to be shut down. You do not contribute to the betterment of us. You need to go.
Thank you for your testimony.
Tina Marie Russell. Tina Marie Russell.
So,
Greg Spearman.
She should be waiting behind me.
she's here. She's great. Yeah, she's here.
You made me get up for nothing?
No.
I gotta wait.
We had inserted her
She's
name.
late though.
So she's here. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Tina Marie Russell. I wrote a document for a letter for today, but I have, after listening to everyone here, I decided to let that go because it's already written, it's already in records. What I see here is a lack of communication. I've been in the hallways talking to a lot of different business owners of the Asian culture, and they're scared. But they don't understand that we're scared too. We all want the same thing. We want peace. But what we need to do is sit down and talk more. Maybe we break out into, here's some solutions for me. We break out into smaller organizations based on our community. We have conversations with each other. We figure out some solutions that's going to work. We look at each of our state representatives and city council for guidance. And then we can find an answer to this. Because at this point in time, we are in a crisis. And this crisis has been brought to the forefront by Councilman Bass's bill. But look around you. At no point in time have I ever, and I've been advocating hard to try to get the small business associations to come and join, have I seen so many Asians come together. I mean, look at you guys. You got to applaud yourselves. You're active finally. And that's all we want. We want you to be active in our communities because you're Americans now, right? So we want you to come together and join up with us to find solutions because you don't like to be victimized and we don't want to be victimized, correct? So let's decide today that we're going to come together. We're going to meet with each other. We're going to find solutions because we want to get the crime out of our communities. And that's my testimony for today.
Thank you for your testimony.
Charles Ellison. Commenting on bill number 160111A.
Thanks, brother. Good afternoon, Council President.
Good afternoon.
Also members of the City Council gathered here today and also residents of the great yet troubled city of Philadelphia. My name is Charles Ellison. For the record, I'm known as the executive producer and host of a daily public affairs program on WURD radio known as Reality Check. I'm also Washington correspondent for the Philadelphia Tribune. Also, I'm a contributing editor to theroot.com and I write a weekly column for the Philadelphia Citizen. I'm here representing myself today as a private and concerned citizen in support of Council Bill number 16011-A. And that was recently introduced and recently revived by Councilwoman Blackwell. I know that this is a little off script from the bill that we've been debating here today, but I can assure you that it is just as important a quality of life issue as the bill regarding stop and goes. I also present this testimony today as an individual who was raised in the Logan section of North Philadelphia. It's the matter of the Philadelphia Parking Authority, and it's a subject of enormous consequence to many people in this room and all the citizens of Philadelphia. And I deliver this testimony as someone who grew up in one of the city's larger working class sections, where I watch residents and families struggle daily to make very simple ends meet, including in my own household. And I'm very concerned about the way the Philadelphia Parking Authority behaves, conducts its daily operations, and treats certain segments of the Philadelphia population. And it's struck a somewhat deep and very personal chord with me. There are two big issues and problems with the Philadelphia Parking Authority right now that need addressing by this council. Race and income-based discrimination. There is data that I've personally researched that shows a pattern in which parking authority officers are routinely preying on and victimizing communities that are overwhelmingly black, brown, and fixed to low income in composition. Also, there's an abuse and misdirection of funding streams, where an analysis of parking authority financial reports, also we saw this with the PA Auditor General's recent audit of authority finances, show the parking authority directing very little of this revenue to the Philadelphia public school system. Combing through the city's data sets on this, I found that there are 14 different zip codes that have issued 100,000 or more parking tickets between 2012 and 2016, yet nearly 80% of those zip codes are places where the poverty rate is 20% or more, and the neighborhoods are mostly black and of color. So in my zip code where I grew up in 19141, there were 179,000 tickets that were issued, but in wider, more affluent zip codes, there are very few tickets and violations issued. All right, sorry. So I'm hoping that with this issue on Councilwoman Janie Blackwell's bill, we can get swift and decisive city council action on it, and also support from the city's mayor and also from the delegation of state representatives and senators that represent the city. Thank you for your time and your initiative on this issue.
I would like the record to reflect Ms. Rochelle Bulow also wanted to testify on this, but her time ran out on her earlier testimony on the other issue. But for the record, she is in support of Bill number 160-111A. So let the record reflect that.
Miranda Alexander. Commenting on 171086.
Good day, President Council.
Good afternoon.
Council President, rather. Council members, members of the community, and my fellow African diaspora colleagues. Today I stand on the strong shoulders of many great men and women who were slave abolitionists, freedom fighters, and leaders of the civil rights movement here in America, the Caribbean, and in Africa. As a member of Amnesty International Philadelphia chapter, the Mayor's Commission on African and Caribbean Immigrant Affairs, a person who regularly engages the African diaspora community, with my own supporting programs such as Our Story Rites of Passage, camps, Meldon, diaspora tours to North and South Broad Philly, West and Southwest Philly, healing for Black advocates through my organization, UROC of Philadelphia, grassroots program, Voices in the Community, and the Caribbean community in Philadelphia. So I have an invested interest in the way my African people are treated in Libya. Among the African Arabs, slave traders at slave markets tie nooses around necks of African black bodies. Good day, my name is Miranda Alexander, and I'm originally from Trinidad and Tobago with Indo and Afro-Caribbean heritage. I am Caribbean and I am Philadelphian, making Philadelphia my home for the last 18 years. My colleagues and I think some of them have left already, are here today to support our Councilwoman Blackwell, in this resolution saying no to the horrific slave auction treatment of our African brothers and sisters forced to endure at the hands of Libyans. To see these horrific pictures and not do something is a crime against my conscience. It is a crime against my charge as a Christian. It's a crime against my skin color, and it's a crime against the children of our generation and the generations to follow. More importantly, it's a crime against humanity. I speak out today for the voices who wanted to say something but are restricted. I speak out for our immigrant community, and I speak out on behalf of Africans who wanted to be here to say something. I am appalled that my Philadelphia community never led an immediate city-wide demonstration. I attempted on one behalf of my local amnesty to do so, but got canceled because of the lack of voices. So I am here saying that my Philadelphia is a major metropolitan city with 42 million visitors, and so I expect us to honor, respect, and hold in high esteem and dignity the God-given potential and purpose of black human souls, demanding Africans and all people of African descent freedom of choice and voice. So we speak as an African
Can you wrap it up, please?
community, yes I am, and denounce and oppose this inhumane treatment of our Africans in Libya. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your testimony.
Jean Marie Coursey. Commenting on 171086.
Good afternoon.
Council President, member of the Council, friends, I'm Jean-Marie Kouassi, President and founder of Palm Solution, the African Francophone Global Initiative based here in Philadelphia and actively involved in the well-being of the social and economic development of our constituents here and abroad. My presence before you comes as a result of the horrifying display of human servitude in the manner of slavery that we've been witnessing in Libya for the last weeks. It is devastating that such practices could be still alive on the African soil in this 21st century. Since Libya fell into chaos after the ouster and killing of Muammar Gaddafi in 2011, hundreds of thousands of migrants from the country that I represent are believed to be in lawless Libya, and many of them are being held by smugglers under lock and key in the country consumed by factional violence. As we speak, 155 Ivorian refugees, including 89 women and underage migrants, were returned from Libya to the Ivory Coast, the country where I'm originally from, as part of the reintegration initiative launched by the European Union and the diplomacy initiative that we've launched here in New York. We want this effort to continue and to get even better results. That is why I'm standing before you in support of the resolution introduced by our counsel, Jenny Blackwell, which I hope will contribute a great deal to the solution of this horrifying and degrading problem on the ground in Libya. I would like to thank you for your interest on the matter and thank in particular Council Jenny Blackwell for introducing the resolution on our behalf. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony.
Vafi Jabatin.
Go on. Okay.
Joe Danahill. Commenting on 171087, 171092, 171095, 171100, and 160720.
My name is Joseph Danahill. This is the official decree of the people, and writ mandamus quo warranto, as such requires immediate action remedy. Every week, this council, mayor, and others transfer private property to government, probably illegally. In this representative form of government, officers having a fiduciary duty to people have colluded to steal my home and others. Officials have covered the tracks of these other oath-bound officials. Allowing clear violations to go unprosecuted is illegal, immoral. RICO statutes clearly are required to round up groups of oath violating officials who collude to steal taxpayer money and violate oath constitution and law. 42 U.S.C. 1982, every person having knowledge of any of the wrongs conspired to be done or about to be committed, having the power to prevent and aid in preventing in the commission of the same, neglects to refuse to do so. If such a wrongful act shall be committed, shall be liable to the party injured or his legal representatives for damages caused for such a wrongful act. There is at least 54 counts of oath, constitution, and law violating known by this council, and they are avoiding a known duty or task at least 54 times. Why is there no enforcement of oath, constitution, and law violations? Did Graham Spanier in Penn State think he was above the law, requiring accountability? The Constitution and laws require immediate remedy for this breach of law, breach of clothes, breach of fiduciary duty. Your oath of office requires you to act or face prison. 42 U.S.C. 1982, 1983, 1985, 1986, 1987, 18 U.S.C. 241, 242, 23A1, 23A4, PA Constitution, Article 1, Sections 1 through 11, 26 PA CSA, 703, 705, 708, 712, 713, 716, and other laws listed in SCOTUS 8965, 141330, 144056 appear violated. I call for the federal and commonwealth governments to perform their constitutional obligations, to investigate and prosecute all involved in the theft and illegal deed transfer of my home, 1038 West Wyoming Avenue, the denial of God-given 42 U.S.C. 1982 property rights for 23 years is egregious, extraordinary oath violating and requires immediate remedy. A just government must obey the rule of law. This color of law government must have its charter to govern revoked until a constitutionally compliant government is installed. Public servants cannot refuse their sworn duty to act any more than a fireman can refuse to play a fire. The sovereign people require the Constitution and laws be enforced. Jail is required for all who violate oath, Constitution, or law.
Thank you.
It takes a lot of cooperation
Thank
to
you for your
create and allow
Thank you.
monumental corruption.
Thank you for your testimony, sir.
Mohammed Kamara. Commenting on 171086.
Good afternoon, Honorable.
Good afternoon.
My name is Mohammed Kamara. I'll first like to thank the Councilwoman Jenny Blackwell for introducing this bill on the situation in Libya. As we all live in the United States, if we're not immigrants ourselves, our parents were immigrants at some point. Many sub-Saharan Africans are leaving their home because of economic situations to travel to Europe, and their way to Europe, they transition in Libya. And during that transition, these people are stopped, imprisoned, and then auctioned to the highest bidder. This situation is intolerable. This situation cannot be allowed in 21st century humanity. This is a plea for all humanity to stand up and to basically stop this type of behavior anywhere on this planet. Human beings are not to be sold as cattle or as property. This is not acceptable. Slavery is not acceptable here. Slavery is not acceptable anywhere. And as people of African descent, we have experienced that many times during history. And quite frankly, enough is enough. We need to come together and ask the governments of Libya, the government of Europe that are financing the coast guards in Libya to stop this practice. This is not acceptable. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony.
There are no other speakers in the public comment list, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Mr. Decker. That concludes our public comment session.